Mark's just gone on a tour of the entire country to connect with real Americans. Why take the time?
Well, Mark wanted to make sure he'd gone to all the states. And, you know, it was interesting because when I first came to Facebook, Mark told me he had never really gotten to travel that much, right? He started the company before he graduated from college. And so he took a trip then where he could see different parts of the world. And I think he really realized he hadn't even understood and seen his own country. And I think what he's learned and experienced has been really important for Facebook because it's helping inform our products. When he rolled out a new mission of being community-based, empowering communities, that was coming from a deep place of experience of what he was seeing was being found and being lost in communities. Mark and I think all the people that work here, we know we have a very big responsibility, and we want Facebook to help do good in the world. We always have. And I think Mark having that direct experience base is helping us build the products that will build community.
Facebook's new mission is not just to connect the world, but to bring people closer together, as you say, through groups. Do you think groups are the future of Facebook?
I think groups are important because they're bringing people together. They are one product manifestation of a community.
Mark's talked about concerns about isolation and nationalism that have risen despite Facebook's efforts to connect the world. And groups coalesce around like-minded views and interests. You think Facebook's part of the solution, but is it also part of the problem?
Well, any technology that's ever been invented has been used for good and sometimes used for bad. And we work really hard to make sure the bad is not on Facebook. I think groups are helpful. I think groups bring people together on different issues. And you actually see a lot of groups that are pretty broad. One of the women I met with has a group bringing women of Muslim and Jewish faith together. So very much on purpose, bringing people together. And there are a lot of groups that serve the purpose of bringing people who wouldn't otherwise connect together online. And that's one of the powers of technology. A huge part of our user base has a cross-border connection. And I think about that in my own life. When I was, in high school or college, I didn't know anyone who didn't live in our country. I grew up in Miami. Barely knew anyone who wasn't from Miami. But if I were on Facebook now, growing up, I'd probably have a cross-border friend. I'd probably have a friend on Facebook from another country.
Would you ever consider showing people news or information from the other side of the aisle? What are people who think differently than me thinking?
And we do that. I think people worry that Facebook, puts you in a news feed that's all the people have the same views as you. That's not what happens. Because of Facebook, you can hear from more voices. And on average, by extending to more voices, you actually see broader views than you otherwise would see. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's being blasted by views from the other side all day. They're not. But on average, Facebook broadens the views. I still think we all can do more to learn more about what other people think and what their experiences are.
WhatsApp is now partially blocked in China. Is Mark's dream of connecting the world now highly unlikely?
We've always said the whole world includes China, and Facebook remains blocked there.
Mark told our friend David Kirkpatrick that Facebook is more like a government than a traditional company, and probably even more so now at this scale. How does Facebook manage the scope of its policy, media, and all of these different responsibilities in this modern age?
Well, we try to do it by empowering local teams. We know we're not going to get everything right from Menlo Park. So with public policy, we've hired local teams on the ground. We have extraordinary leaders around the world, and they make sure we understand what's going on in those countries. We are not perfect. With so many people posting to Facebook, we make mistakes. We're trying to address those mistakes quickly and correct them. We're also really investing in community operations. We're hiring another 3,000 people to work with our community. That's a pretty serious investment for us, and hiring them all around the world. We want to try to get the policies right, get there quickly, and make sure we're staffed so that we can be as responsive as possible.
If Facebook is more like a government than a company, what's your role?
Well, we're a company. We're a company. We're a company that's broadly used. We have responsibility and deep responsibility to the people who use us to put out a product and service that enables them to share and keeps harmful things from happening. We have a responsibility to the people that use our products. When they report something, we try to get to it as quickly as possible. And we have a responsibility to build teams around the world that have empathy for local users. And that's what we're trying to do.